Phenomenon.
Week 9 of the Formation. I'm Jeff Gibbons.
And I'm John Moist.
Glad to be back online. Apologize for last week. Had some big changes. Well, you weren't feeling the best last week. I know that you're on the mend now because I can hear your voice. That was the big thing last week, and certainly I moved. So this is the new set, the new digs, the new working the bugs out. So over the next couple of weeks, we'll deal with glare, we'll deal with everything else, and go from there. So most importantly now, we're back. And we're here to talk about the NFL, Week 9. And we had a chance to look at our picks quickly and recognize that we only differ on one pick this week. So I figured we'd get right into it.
Sure.
Let's look at the first one for the week, Atlanta at Tampa Bay. What do you think of this?
It starts in about an hour.
Yep, we're late this week. That's right.
Yeah. Okay, what do I think of this? I think that Atlanta has too much for Tampa Bay to handle. I don't know who's going to take care of Jones. To tell you the truth, I don't think Tampa got anybody that can handle him. And I don't know, I just flat out think Atlanta's a better team here, better defensively and offensively.
Awesome. What are you thinking? 10 points?
Yeah.
Great.
10.
Oh, we're off to a good start. Next, we got Dallas going into Cleveland to play the lowly Browns.
What do you think?
Next.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Cleveland, maybe they'll get a win this season somewhere along the way. It's not going to be against Dallas.
No.
Dallas too hot. And you got Elliott, Prescott, that offensive line might be ugly.
Yeah, that very well might be ugly with Ezekiel Elliott. Next, we move on to Philadelphia at the New York Giants, and this is the one that we're going to disagree on this week. I don't know. I think that Philadelphia being on the road for a second consecutive week, playing Eli Manning, and I think they put it together this week at home, and I think that this is going to be a great game to watch. These games always are, but I think this is probably less than 6 points. I'm going to say that Eli Manning comes up with a big game and wins this at home.
Yeah, I was going back and forth on this one at first, and then I noticed this statistic that was alarming to me, and that's that the Philadelphia Eagles have a +6 turnover differential. The Giants have a -7 turnover differential, and that's a big difference there. Philadelphia protects the ball better, and I think that they're going to get the job done here. I'll pick a close game as well, but I'm going to pick the Eagles to win this one.
It's the road game that throws it for me. I think that if they're in Philadelphia, I give this one to the Eagles. And you're right, special teams has been big for the Philadelphia Eagles, for the last couple of seasons, and that's what makes and breaks their games. I think that Eli Manning and the Giants put it together this week. So there's our disagreement. Next, we got Pittsburgh going into Baltimore to play a very important game. Actually, this one decides first place in that division. If I'm correct, assuming. This division has been watered down a little bit now with a few injuries. It's marred the records a little bit. I don't think it's going to be the commanding division that always acquires that second playoff spot or that wild card spot this year. That could slip by the wayside. All things being equal.
It looks like Big Ben is going to play.
Yeah, and we figured that right from the get-go. He's a hard man to keep off the field. He sort of smirked when he talked about, the arthroscopic surgery and then having the bye week in week 8 and being back on his feet, and, it was a possibility. Now, is it the right move? Maybe not.
Well, I'm not sure. Boomer Esiason said the other day that Big Ben at 60% is better than most quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah, that's fine and dandy, but what happens to Big Ben if he takes... I spoke to Graham Anthony this week, and he's kind of concerned about the whole thing too, and I think he's right as well. I think that, it's all good and fair to say that he's going to be at 60% accuracy, but he's going to be taking hits on that O-line, and all it's going to take is a couple of smacks to the knee or a twist, and he could be out long term, and that's a bigger problem for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're playing reasonably well. I mean, you've got that great run game, right, with Le'Veon Bell. Feed him the ball, and maybe take another week, with Well, I don't know.
Sure.
We'll see.
Such a big game, you know.
Yeah, and I think, and these games are always great, but I think at the end of the day, Pittsburgh is hungrier. I think they go into Baltimore and they win this by a field goal.
I agree. I think Pittsburgh has the better team here. Baltimore's having real trouble on offense. Smith, not sure if he's playing. He did show up to practice today, but I really don't expect to see him on the field this week. If he does, it'll probably be limited. That leaves them with their only deep threat is Mike Wallace. Dennis Pitta, if he's healthy, which is not all the time, he's always banged up. He's a good receiver, but Baltimore just doesn't have those weapons that Pittsburgh has. So, yeah, I think Pittsburgh, close game because it's divisional and because it's in Baltimore. Yeah, I think I agree. Pittsburgh by a field goal.
All right, then. We'll stop talking about it.
Okay.
And we'll move on to the next one.
Yeah.
Next, we got the New York Jets going into Miami in Florida to play my Dolphins. And got to say, a renewed interest and a renewed excitement, I guess, in Miami with this new O-line and a solid running game in the likes of Jay Ajayi, who has put up some massive numbers just before for the 2 weeks prior to the bye. So the Dolphins are rested. They're taking on a team that has been in an offensive disarray all year. You know, I just think this is the perfect cocktail. I think at home, the Dolphins with that defense, with those, with some of those defensive players, Ndamukong Suh, Cameron Wake, I think they take these guys apart. Sorry to say it, all those Jets fans that I know out there, all four of you. But I think that the Dolphins win this big. 14 points.
Oh, I'm not going to go that big. I still think it's a divisional game, and I still think the Jets got a really good defense that can hold down that running game.
It'll be a test.
Yeah.
Ajayi is coming out and he says he's for real and he wants to prove it every single week, and I love his work ethic.
They got some big run stoppers on that Jets defense, and I expect to see maybe the difference here being someone like Kenny Stills or someone with that speed going up and catching a big touchdown or something. I will take Miami, but I'm going to say it's a field goal game.
All right. Next, we got Detroit going into Minneapolis to play the Vikings.
Goes back and forth on this one.
It's a tough one.
Yeah.
But these two teams have been Jekyll and Hyde all year.
Yeah.
And I think we both pitched on the right side. I think we're going with Minnesota.
Yeah.
And part of that is the home piece.
Speaking of Jekyll and Hyde, Bradford away or at home, that's Jekyll and Hyde. Yeah. I was looking at some statistics today. His home statistics are way better.
Yeah, but do you get the feeling that they're really in with him for the long term? I've sort of been talking about that. I've been an advocate of Sam Bradford his entire career. And I wonder if, holding him for that second year, you got to wonder what the physical state of Teddy Bridgewater really is. And I've heard reports out there, people talking that he's finished. I've heard that it's a slow process of return. And, when you talk about a quarterback in this league and you're putting a timetable of more than one season, that's a scary, scary thing. So, maybe they're not convinced that he can come back and play at that same level. It's too bad because I thought he was brilliant. So, a lot of heads looking at that. And I've always contended that Bradford in the right market is a starting quarterback. And this might be it. So, we'll wait to see. But you're right. At home, he's incredible. It's like Cousins last year at home,
Yeah.
Same kind of an idea. Just... I think Cousins is kind of funny. I think he threw over 6 games, threw 1 interception. I think it was, and I can't remember how many touchdowns. It was an incredible number. But same kind of numbers. And I think that on that alone, I think the divisional game, it's fairly close. Minnesota wins this at home.
Okay, I like it by a touchdown.
All right. Next we've got Jacksonville and Kansas City at Arrowhead to play the Chiefs. And another team that's sort of shown up some weeks, not so much others. But they're at home here. Jacksonville has that good young defensive core, but they can't hold a candle to Kansas City's defense. Alex Smith, it looks like now, is scratched for Sunday.
Yeah,
So
I think that they are going with Nick Foles for this one.
Yeah, so I know that that's still up in the air. They have said that he has not got a concussion, but they're not taking any
How about
chances.
Spencer Ware? Did we check on his concussion protocol?
No, I didn't hear anything.
Well, even if Spencer Ware is not playing, they still have Sharkhandrick West there. He's capable of taking over the duties. I'm looking at KC's defense here, though, and I think that Marcus Peters at corner, I think, is, this year you don't see the big. the big Revis Island over there or anything. So I think that Marcus Peters is the new #1 shutdown corner in the NFL, and I think that he's right up there with Sherman, and I think that he'll come through with at least 1 pick, maybe even 2 picks in this game against Jacksonville, because Bortles likes to throw picks.
So a few of those quarterbacks around this year.
Yeah.
Okay. Next we've got Carolina going into LA to play the Rams. And we've seen a team here in the Carolina I want to say the Hurricanes. Jeez, that's great. You know, this hockey and football thing now. The World Series at least is over at this point now, so we can cut down on the numbers.
Congratulations, Cubbies.
Yeah, and like I said, we said at Game 6, I said, if Cleveland doesn't finish it here, the Cubs will win. And they've done it fine style. It's kind of cool. Anyway, the Panthers have turned a corner. Getting back into the football fold. They've turned a corner, starting to see that team work out well on both sides of the ball. And I think that they're just going to go into LA, and no matter what LA team shows up, I think Carolina has enough to beat this team.
I think Carolina's going to go in and beat them bad. I think that Carolina is trying to make a statement now after their very slow start. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's a little bit too late to talk about playoffs because, I mean, they're buried. But, I mean, you got Riverboat Round coming in here, and one of my favorite coaches. I remember when Newton was getting hit by the Broncos in the first game this year, and there was a lot of media on that Newton was taking some hits to the head. And when Round was in getting interviewed, they asked him about it, and Rivera said, "Last time I checked, that was football." So, you know, no excuses kind of coach. He's a great coach. I think they're going to come in and they're going to handle the Rams, actually. I think a couple of touchdowns here.
And just a word to Cam Newton. Put your yogurt down and stop your whining. Just want to say, you're right. This is the game. We do our best with the league to protect the quarterbacks with the rule changes and whatnot. You're a big boy. And remember, when you leave that pocket, you're a target. So you got to understand that. That's the way the game works. I'm all for protecting quarterbacks, but at some point you got to realize, you know, when you're 6 odd, and you know, there's going to be a helmet. You're not leading with a helmet. You're leading with a shoulder. You know, those things are happening. So you know, I don't know if I understand that you want to be an advocate for safety, but put the yogurt down and just play your game.
Sit Gurley because he's not getting many fancy points this week against that Carolina run D.
No, absolutely. Next, we got New Orleans going into San Francisco. And you thought about this one long there too, didn't you?
Yeah,
I don't know, it's kind of cue the ominous music.
Coming off a bye with this Chip Kelly and everything, trying to get a game plan going, you know. But it is Drew Brees, isn't it?
Yeah. And he's, again, another player turned the corner. I mean, he's put up pretty good numbers over this year already, but can't do it all himself. I mean, their defense has been disastrous in New Orleans. But I think they got enough to beat San Francisco, even at home.
I was impressed with New Orleans last week and their win over Seattle, actually. I thought that they really showed me something there, and I think that they could win if they can put together a little string. You never know; they might sneak their way in if they got the team to do it.
Just getting back to Carolina for a second too. It's not that long ago. Remember, we counted them out when they won 8 straight to finish the season.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, you know, this could be another setup there. I mean, Carolina's not out of that race yet, and they won't be until the last week. I truly believe that. But New Orleans, like I said, has enough to beat San Francisco, and like I said, that could be a 10-pointer.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, next we got Tennessee going into San Diego. Another great game to watch. I think this one's going to be a lot closer. But at the end of the day, I just think San Diego needs this win more than Tennessee does. I just think that they're going to work that much harder. They're at home. Look for Phillip Rivers to have a big game.
Yeah, we got Denver and Oakland up on top of the West there. San Diego is one of these teams that they've lost a couple of games by like single points and stuff like that. They could be right up there with these guys. They have a great team, great offense. And when you're looking at Tennessee is mostly a run team. They got Murray, he's been doing it all. And San Diego has the 6th ranked run defense in the game. So they're going to be able to stop Tennessee's run game. And although Tennessee's pass defense, San Diego is more of a pass team, with Rivers, and Tennessee does not have a good pass defense. So San Diego should win this ball game for those reasons.
All right. Next, we've got Indianapolis in Lambeau to play the Packers.
Luck versus Rodgers.
Good luck versus Rodgers.
Yeah, yes.
At home.
Yeah.
You know, as good as I think Andrew Luck is, and I think he's a good quality quarterback, he's no match for the all-around game of Aaron Rodgers at home. And I think that, remember what he said? RELAX.
Relax.
And I think he's into the win mode. I think puts off a good show on a clinic at home, manages this game well, keeps Luck off the field, and I think they win this. I'm going to say 7 points.
Okay, I'm going to say that Indy will put some points on the board. You pick the over in this one because Green Bay is going to put a lot more points on the board. I'm going to say that Aaron Rodgers and the Packers go in and beat the 30th ranked Colts pass defense by 3 touchdowns, 21 points. There you go.
Wow. Nice.
Light them up.
All right. Next we've
Like
got
that, Joe?
like that, Joe. Next we've got Denver and Oakland. Another division rivalry. And I'm calling this game, I even wrote it down here, I think this is the closest game of the whole week.
Yeah.
This is going to be an incredible game to watch. Two teams, like you said, at the top of that division.
Biggest game of the year for
Right.
both.
And I think no one's going to leave anything on this field. I think this is going to be right down to the wire. Kick that field goal right at the last play. I'm saying 3 points. I think it's going to be a marvelous game. I give Denver the edge. I just think that they come and, they find that they have the ball last, so to speak.
Well, David Carr hasn't seen anything like this pass rush yet this year, and Denver has is tied with Buffalo for the most sacks in the NFL, and they also have created the most. They have come up with the most fumble recoveries in the NFL as well, and I think they're going to attack David Carr, shake up his game. Oakland will stick around though. This is always a great game, and Oakland has a great team. Yeah, Denver by 3, late field goal. We're both calling it.
Cue the balloons. It's all good, man. It's all good. All right. Last but not least, Buffalo going in to play the 12th man in Seattle.
We talked about this one.
Yep. Rex Ryan and his team licking wounds. And, I'm not convinced that this isn't the beginning of the end for the Buffalo Bills. And, they've sort of spent their penny and all those other crude sayings. I think that while Seattle has, like I've said, had trouble generating offense, it's going to be the defense that does in Buffalo here.
Pick the under.
Absolutely. It's like 6-3.
Yeah.
5-1. No, that's the CFL. Shit.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to be a Ticats fan for
I'd
that.
say 15-12.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it could be.
5 field goals against 4 field goals.
Well, we've seen the 12-10 score with Miami and Seattle this year. And like I said, they've always been slow out of the gate the first few games. It's just that they really haven't put a lot of points on the board. They miss beast mode. I don't think that they have that same kind of cohesive offense. So you're right. Pick the under and go with Seattle. So that's the games, folks. That's how we see it. It's really, really good to be back in the saddle here. Still trying to get used to the new digs here. We're going to wonder how the acoustics are. So all these things are being checked out. I know we got a little bit of a glare issue tonight, but I couldn't avoid that. We'll try to figure that out for next week. So that's our picks. We want you talking about this. I'm going to try to get this loaded up as soon as possible. Hopefully it'll be up tonight, maybe before the end of that game. So you'll see what we thought. And remember, we want your picks as well. We want to hear your comments and your feedback. You can put that and post that to our Facebook page. Certainly we'll be baiting you for comments there. You can also leave comments on this YouTube channel, the I-Formation. You can send us an email at theiformation@gmail.com, or you can follow us on Twitter at the I-Formation. So all of these places worthwhile to check, and certainly give us your thoughts. So, an uneventful week apart from that. Well, one thing's for sure, the Patriots won't win this week. That's one thing we do know, right? Because they're on the bye. So that was just too easy. Then again, I wouldn't be surprised to see them sneak into the win column somewhere anyway. But
yeah, somehow, yeah.
somehow, that's right.
But right now in the NFL, it's the Patriots, and then there's everybody else.
But that's
I
always
hope
been
that changes.
It's always been that way, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Hard to beat 'em.
That's it. Well, this time of the year it is. Okay, folks, that's the way we saw the week, and we want to thank you for tuning in again, for our loyal viewers. Remember, enjoy the games this week, as every week, but remember, respect the game as well, and don't drink and drive. So, that's it from me. You got anything else to say?
That's it.
Well then, until next week, it's good night for me.
It's good night from him. Have fun.